it does seem like the optimism that we're seeing with the trade with Apple is giving some momentum to other companies out there, certainly lifting the major indexes. What's your view on Apple hitting its first new record of the year?
Yeah, a couple things to note. One, this is old news. We've known for several weeks now that the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max have been a hit. We've known for some time now that the base level iPhone is a hit. They made major changes on that consumer model. You have the faster refresh display, the better cameras, the larger screen size, et cetera, et cetera. The Pro models, first redesign in half a decade, got that orange color, which I happen to like. They're doing very well. Second thing I'll say is I just continue to find it fascinating. I know I've been in this space for a decade now in the financial news space, that a firm can come out, they could say, we predict that the stock price is going to XYZ, and then the stock follows, right? Stock goes up. Anyone could just shout out and say, I think the price is going to that, and see what happens, right? So these are predictions, they're not set in stone, and there's really no way to know how the stock is going to go one way or another. We don't know what the different ramifications are of different political policies and what can happen in the world at the drop of a dime, right? So it's really a coin flip to know where this stock price is going to go, or really the stock price for any company. So that's my take and 2 cents on that.
I just think it's worth pointing out, because I don't think Mark would do this himself, but oftentimes when Mark does report news that nobody knows, it does move Apple's stock price.
It does.
So it's not just the analysts who do that, but Mark's reporting often does that.
You know, I was going to come back at you, Mark, because, you know, we do have with this call out from Loop Capital that not everyone is sure that that early momentum for the iPhone justifies Apple's valuation that's out there. Shares trading at more than 32 times estimated earnings, well above their 10-year average of 22 times. You are not a financial analyst, but your reporting does move the share price. But you do know what's coming in terms of products, services, fundamentally.
Well, they all use my reporting to make their reports.
There we go. I like it.
What do you say about those that are concerned about valuations? Again, you're not a financial analyst. I'm not asking you to give me a buy, sell, sell or hold or whatever. But you understand kind of what's coming at us from the company. There are drivers out there, right?
I think I can give you a pretty good idea, actually, if you should buy, hold, or sell. But I won't give that black and white. But I will tell you that the product pipeline that they have is phenomenal. I think the foldable iPhone coming at the end of next year is going to raise ASPs quite significantly. I think you're going from a device right now, a Pro model that costs around $1,000. You're going to see phones starting at $2,000 from Apple at the end of next year. And I think that's going to do wonders for ASPs and overall revenue. They're going to expand the product portfolio, that's sort of that other product segment, with the new slate of smart home devices. They're going to compete with Ring, their parent company Amazon. They're going to compete with Google, Ecobee, and a bunch of other companies in the smart home space with this new smart home display coming in March. They're going to come out in the following year, in 2027, with a robotic smart home display. This is actually a very popular product category right now. It's growing and it's becoming increasingly popular, I should say, in China, tabletop robots. So if you're a smart home user or robotics fan, this is something that I think is going to be fairly compelling. You've got a foldable 18-inch iPad in the pipeline for before the end of the decade. You've got multiple different variations of smart glasses. So in terms of hardware, you're going to see a pretty rapid and broad expansion of the hardware lineup. You have the new Siri coming out this spring. Then you have another update to Siri coming at the end of next year. And then another update to Siri coming the year after, trying to get something closer to ChatGPT. They're looking at a bunch of acquisitions. So, we're on a very solid path in terms of Apple right now.
A $2,000 iPhone.
You take your bet based on that.
Okay. So a $2,000 iPhone, Mark, I think would make a lot of people balk at just the list price there, that headline price. What does Apple need to do, or what do carriers around the world need to do to make that more digestible, to break that up so people actually spend the money but don't realize they're spending it?
Yeah, I think that issue has been solved with installment plans from Apple on their credit card in the US. I think it's also been solved by the carriers in terms of their trade-in promotions. And I think people understand that pricing is going up. One benefit, I should say, with the tariffs is it's given Apple some air cover. Even if they're not being hit by tariffs directly, it's given them some air cover to do price adjustments. And so I think the general consumer understands that because of tariffs, because of inflation, pricing is going up, and so it gives them some air cover there. And they're not going to be the first at this point. When Apple came out with the $1,000 iPhone 10 in 2017, they really were the first to hit that, massive, at the time, pricing threshold. Now it's sort of whatever. And I think pretty soon the 2000 is going to be pretty whatever also.
We've always talked about Apple, and we're always so concerned about how much exposure they have to one big product, and that is their phone. Are we still worried?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at some point, the iPhone is going to need to be not replaced, right, but succeeded, right, with the iPhone still sticking around. It's kind of like everyone thought the laptop was going to die because of the iPad. And then everyone thought, maybe the Apple Watch would cannibalize some things. The only real cannibalization that we've ever seen in the history of Apple, in my viewpoint, is the iPod, where the iPhone killed the iPod. But nothing has killed the Mac. Nothing's going to kill the phone. You're always going to have that pocket device. You're going to see fewer people use the laptop because they've got the iPhone. You're going to maybe see fewer people use the iPhone because you have the smart glasses, but you're still going to probably want and own and buy all of them, right? And so that's the tricky needle Apple needs to thread, but I don't believe the phone is going away.